Fire Evacuation Guide for Wheelchair Users. If you're the designated responsible person for fire safety at your commercial premises, you are legally required to ensure that everyone there can safely exit the building in the event of a fire, including wheelchair users. The legislation covering this can be found in the Regulatory Reform, Fire Safety, Order 2005, which requires that all disabled people based at your premises have a Personal Emergency Evacuation Plan, PEEP, and the Equality Act 2010, which requires you to make reasonable adjustments to enable the safe exit of any disabled person likely to be using your premises. What is a Personal Emergency Evacuation Plan, PEEP? A Personal Emergency Evacuation Plan enables the safe evacuation of a named individual in the event of an emergency. It should explain the method of evacuation, taking into account the person's location, individual requirements, and any hidden impairments such as heart conditions or epilepsy. If there is a need for assistance, the responsible person should ensure this is arranged and available for any evacuation. If specialist training is needed, it is also their responsibility to make sure this is conducted. Planning an evacuation procedure for a wheelchair user. When making an evacuation plan for wheelchair users, there are a number of issues which must be considered. Check the number of disabled people and their locations within the building. Have evacuation plans that do not need the fire and rescue service to be carried out effectively. Apply personal emergency evacuation plans. Institute staff training. Resolve what should happen when a fire alarm goes off, and make sure everyone who works in your building is aware of these plans. Techniques for evacuation. As lifts are usually prohibited in an emergency evacuation, other methods are needed for getting wheelchair users safely out of a building, such as moving them horizontally to another fire compartment, using evacuation lifts or chairs, or employing carry-down procedures. Refuge areas should be designated to provide individuals with a place of relative safety before being assisted to a final exit point. This could be a lobby, a corridor, or a stairway that gives protection from fire and smoke. These techniques should always be considered in advance and in conjunction with the wheelchair user to determine their preferred method of evacuation. Evacuation procedure for individual wheelchair users. When an alarm sounds, stop what you're doing and collect anything needed for your evacuation. Remain at your workstation if you need assistance. When assistance arrives, move calmly to your designated refuge point and stay there until it's safe to continue with your evacuation. Once the area is clear, and with the support of any required assistance, make your way to your final exit point. Once outside, report your presence to the person in charge of the evacuation. Having an effective evacuation plan isn't just important to make sure you're complying with the law, it can also save lives. Scutum South East can assist with all aspects of fire safety at your commercial premises, including carrying out professional fire risk assessments and helping to devise personal emergency evacuation plans. Get in touch with us now to find out more.